Hello and welcome back to the SCMP Fantasy Premier League. We're here for a look at Game Week 4 and a look ahead at what we might do in the international break when we've got a lot of time on our hands to twist out our team. I'm Jonathan White, I'm here with Sam Agars.
Johnny, how are you?
I'm good considering. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I do think that my appearance on this show seems to have coincided with the downturn of my fantasy team, but we push on.
I think my appearance on this show often coincides with the downturn of my fantasy team. Starting with this is what's happened this week. 41 points, not the worst in the division, not the worst in the game. Problems though, problems.
I guess you're going to have some problems when you put 5 new players in your team, and by the sounds of it, some of the players you took out probably could have done a similar job to the ones you brought in.
Absolutely. I broke the bank for Alonso. He wasn't aided by Trippier or Mendy. Alonso did exactly what he was meant to do. He also did exactly what Johnny, who he replaced, did with 9 points. And then the other problem I've had, of course, is that Wilf Zaha has gone. He's usually good for points, so an injured player and a suspended player on my bench, not ideal really.
A little bit of that of your own making though, of course, by keeping Richarlison there on the bench.
Indeed. Let's have a look at your team.
Another pretty low week for me. Christian Eriksen's starting to become a bit of a worry. Salah not scoring hurts when you've invested that much in him, and Daniel's no points at the back there. Overall, a bit of a down week, especially with Walcott, who I brought in for Richarlison, scoring a single point.
And do you think Salah will come good, Sam?
Of course he will, I think so. Liverpool are going to be scoring goals all season. He's their main man, and he's too good not to, I don't think.
So let's see where we are in the table.
Pretty steady for me, still 5th and still within reach of the leader, although it's starting to open up and it seems you've dropped a couple of spots, Johnny.
Yeah, we'll see that this table stretches down all the way to 11th because that's where I am. I've scored more points than Sam this week, but it's still dropped me a little bit further down than I'd like to be in the standings. But we're only a tenth of the way into the season. Manager of the week, 104 points he got.
Yeah, the couple of randoms in there, as there always seems to be, but then you have a look and you see some of the big guns as well. Hazard's just ticking along beautifully, and Sadio Mane for Liverpool has been a revelation, really. Everyone was sort of talking about Salah leading into the season, but Mane perhaps was the forgotten man last year, and this year he's certainly arrived on the scene with a bang.
Dream team, 120 points again this week. Familiar faces?
Yeah, a few in there. Sterling starting to warm up, which is nice. He was a favourite last year, and again Mane and Hazard.
Front three. What do you make of that?
Lacazette perhaps was a little bit out of favour with fantasy managers at the start of the season, with his role a little bit unknown. Not sure where he was going to be used in that lineup, so it's good to see him scoring. Romelu, he's started slowly. I think only 1 goal before this game week, and to bang in a double for him must inspire some confidence. And Glenn Murray, well, good luck to you if you had him.
Here's the dream team. What do you make of this?
Again, a few household names. What stands out for me is the 2 Watford players at the back. They've been that good this year, Johnny, that not only are they scoring for themselves, but also the other team.
Yeah, so they're flying high when they can concede own goals and still beat Spurs. Let's have a look at who's been the best player so far. Up to an international break, of course. Any surprises?
Olibas, I guess he jumps out a little bit, and the Cardiff goalkeeper there, Etheridge. Alonso, you're getting brilliant bang for your buck with him. Anyone that started the season with him is bound to be in a really good position.
I didn't, because I thought he's in a new team. He's going to be playing as a fullback instead of a wing back. But he's playing even higher up the pitch, it seems, ignoring his defensive duties, and they're just going for broke up top.
And a couple of your mates lower down that list in Mitrovic and Lucas Moura, they're ticking along nicely.
And to prove how good these lads are performing, the next player, 11th on the list, Eden Hazard, the only player in midfield who's scored or assisted in every game, can't make the top 10. Next fixtures, obviously after the international break, so we've got a little bit more time than usual to worry about our fantasy league team, keep it open on our phones and scratch our heads with what we should do. What are you thinking about these fixtures?
Interesting to see how Liverpool go, starting with Spurs, a very tough month, and a lot of fantasy managers are all in on them, with obviously Mane and Salah in the midfield, Firmino and then Robertson down back. So it's interesting to see if they can keep churning out the points. And then you look at Everton, whether they can cash in at a winless West Ham, maybe Walcott might finally repay me.
There's a chance. Wolves, I think Wolves are looking good. Probably a good time to either keep your Wolves players or get some in. Certainly don't get rid of them, and not at the cost of 12 points. That'd be a bad move. Man United, Watford. Top of the table, Watford against mid-table Man United. What do you think of that?
Wouldn't have seen that coming at the start of the season, certainly, but I think United are turning a corner. They're too good to be down for too long, but this will be an absolute perler of a game to see again where Watford are actually at.
Wolves against a struggling Burnley.
Yeah, well, Wolves certainly proved that they can score goals and that they can score points.
We've got a couple of weeks before this. Is it time to take a gamble?
Another gamble in your case. I'd say no. The free hit, I think we need to stash that away for later in the season when the double game weeks start rolling around. And the wild card, for mine, perhaps a bit early. I'm pretty happy with the balance of my team. A few things definitely need fixing, but depending on where you're sitting in your league table and how far you are off the top would depend on the wild card, but I'd probably hold out for a little while.
So you're saying don't gamble?
Don't gamble. And for someone like you, perhaps next time you're thinking of doing 5 trades in a week, maybe the wild card is your better option.
Seemed too early in the season, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, we will see what we get up to after idle hands make some light work of the Fantasy Premier League international break.
Indeed.
We're definitely going to make some terrible changes. Anyway, we'll see what they are when we come back next week. Thanks for joining us. See you then. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you very much for having me again, Johnny. Pleasure as always.
Bye-bye.